Hi everyone, today's My Communication Monday is to give an introduction and overview on PECS, or the Picture Exchange Communication System. This is an approach we use with many of our learners on the Explorers pathway in school. The main goal of PECS is to teach functional communication. It teaches initiation and that it takes two to communicate. It can also help support our learners to develop speech. PECS consists of 6 phases and begins by teaching the child to exchange a single picture of a desired item or action to make a request. It then goes on to teach discrimination of pictures and how to put them together into sentences. In later phases, it then goes on to teach our children to answer questions, comment and describe. So where do we start? The first thing you need to do when using PECS is to identify the child's motivators. What are their favourite things? This could be a toy, some food, locations or events. You know something is a motivator if they will reach for the item or seek it out. Do they get upset if the item is removed or show resistance when you want to take it away? And is it an item they spend lots of time with? Always remember to keep checking the child's motivators. Children's interests change all the time. Phase 1, how to communicate. This is where the child learns to exchange a single picture for items or activities that they want. It's teaching them how to make a request. To begin with, you need 2 adults to support. The communication partner, who entices the child with the motivator, and the physical prompter, who isn't seen or heard. Make sure you remember to begin with, you need to use motivators that are instant. And if you're using food items, cut them up into small pieces so that it lasts longer and you're able to get more requests. It starts with the communication partner offering the motivator. When the child initiates by reaching for the item, we then teach 1. To pick up the picture, 2. To reach and pass over the picture to the communication partner, and 3. To release it into their hand. We then immediately reinforce the behaviour by naming the item and providing it. Initially, the physical prompter will need to guide the child to pick up and hand over the picture. But by the end of phase 1, you are eventually able to phase out the physical prompter so that the child is spontaneously requesting using the 3 stages: pick up, reach and release. You will know that phase 1 is achieved when the child is independently and spontaneously exchanging for at least 5 different motivators with 3 different people and in 3 different environments without any physical prompting. This is important because children can get fixed with only exchanging with one person and in one place. This skill stays with the child throughout all phases of PECS, so it's critical to get it right before you move on to stage 2. Phase 2, distance and persistence. Still using single pictures to begin with, the child learns to generalise the new skill across distances. They are also taught to gain attention and be persistent communicators. This is the phase where you introduce the PECS Book. To encourage a child to travel to make a request, phase 2 teaches the triangle of communication. You may still need a physical prompter initially to encourage the child to move from the chair, and you need to still use 1 picture at a time placed on the front of the book at this stage. You then gradually increase the distance between the PECS book and the communication partner.
There's an apple, pear or chocolate. Put it on your strip and ask Ethan. Can you read it? I'm ready. Get 2 toys for. That was quite good. How many can I get? 2 toys.
I want crisps, please.
Crisps.
Jed, you go and physically
Oh, it's done it. Ignore her.
You want breadsticks, please? Thank you. Mama's one second.
I want counters, please. Let's go and sit down.
To teach persistence, you might face the other way so the child needs to get your attention before they can exchange. Or you may try being in a different room so they have to travel and seek you out. Phase 2 is achieved when the child can gain attention to make an exchange, and when a child can cross a room to get a picture from his PECS books and then cross the room to exchange the picture with a person. All this is done without prompts. Phase 3, Picture Discrimination. This is where the child learns to select from 2 or more pictures to ask for their favourite things. They learn how to look inside their book to find the picture they want to ask for. There are 2 parts to Phase 3. The first part is simple discrimination. This is when you have a highly preferred item, such as a biscuit or a favourite toy, versus a non-preferred item. This may be a sock or an empty box. You start by offering the child the preferred item. If the child exchanges the photograph for the non-preferred item, that's the item you give them. This encourages the child to look more closely at the pictures and, if they're able to, exchange the right picture. The second part of Phase 3 is conditional discrimination. This is when the child can choose between pictures of 2 motivating items. They are also then able to find the pictures in the book, and this is where you would begin to categorise the pages. A lot of our children can find this phase particularly difficult. It's therefore best to have support from your speech and language therapist at school or from the NHS, or attend a PECS formal training workshop. Phase 4, Sentence Structure. This is where the child learns to construct simple sentences on a detachable sentence strip using an I want picture followed by the picture of the item being requested. They may need to go back to being physically prompted at first to get used to putting the picture on the sentence strip to exchange.
Oh, what does Amelia want? Look him. Bag or horse? Go! I want horse.
Once the child can do this without any prompting, they can then go on to use attributes and expand their language. The child learns to expand their sentences by adding names, for example, Mrs. James, I want blocks please. Adding adjectives, for example, I want the red car please. And adding verbs, for example, I want to bounce the ball please.
Next. I want nose, please. Shower. yellow or purple? Choosing. I want purple, please. Purple. Good colouring.
Miss, get toast, please. Good asking, Noah.
Phase 5 is answering questions. This is where the child learns to use PECS to answer questions such as, what do you want?
What does Andrew want?
During phase 4 and 5 of PECS, this is really where we can encourage the child to begin to use some speech and vocalisations. You can do this by the communication partner modelling back words on the sentence strip, pausing in the middle of the sentence to encourage the child to complete the sentence or to imitate back what they've heard. Once phases 4 and 5 have been mastered, an electronic version of a PECS book can be introduced. You use this in the same way as PECS, going through all 6 phases, but it is through an app on the iPad. In school, we use the app called Prolo2Go. And myself, as a school speech and language therapist, would support you with how and when to introduce this.
I want vanilla ice cream, please. I want vanilla ice cream, please. Would you like Chris? Shall we play?
Does Chris want to play with Reese?
I think so.
Phase 6, commenting. This is when the child is taught to comment in response to questions such as, what do you see and what do you hear? They learn to make up sentences starting with I see, I hear and I feel.
Harry, what can you see? Trees, looking. I see trees. Can you see, Reese?
I can see.
We are a monkey. I see monkey. He was too naughty, so I sent him back. What's that? What's that? So they sent me a I see frog. He was too jumpy, so I sent him back. So they fought hard and they sent me a I see dog as well. Good talking. He was perfect, so I kept him. Good working, yeah. Right.
And you say, I hear. I hear birds. I hear birds. Good girl.
Please remember that this video was just an introduction and overview of PECS. Please contact myself, the school speech and language therapist, or your NHS therapist if you would like further information or support with using PECS at home, or attend some official PECS training. Here are some useful links and my contact details should you need them.